Okay, hola internet amigos. Today's date is the 23rd of June 2025. It's 11:29 a.m. and I'm about to again get on some transport and move again. Let's talk about Tulsi Gabbard. It's being groomed for the presidency after JD Vance. Trump is gone. I'm sure Trump's gone this year. I'm pretty sure. I can feel it in my bones. Tulsi Gabbard, of course, is not a traitor to the US. She's a asset of the intelligence community, as is Colonel McGregor, as is Scott Ritter, the pedophile, as is the Ryan Dawsons of the world, as is all of the clown show, including the former CIA Marine psychological warfare training officer Robert David Steele. May he allegedly rest in peace. With Beth Ann Steele, of course, his daughter, who's the FBI, what do you call it, public relations. So before showing, I've been watching a lot of lefty stuff, which has been very interesting, and I want to show you good old Mike Wolf, who's a friend of Bannon's, and he's telling that lady off the Daily Beast podcast, because I keep a good eye. I don't want to watch right-wing stuff. I already know what they're saying. I want to see what the other side is saying. I hate the right, left, sorry. I just want to see what more important people are saying. Remember, the Trump fans or the Trump tolerators are already in the bag. You know, that's why Bannon never goes on Fox News. He hates Fox News. He always goes on the opposition, always trying to get them on side. That's your big mistake. Stop going to places where you feel comfortable and start infiltrating places that are on the other end of the spectrum. But anyway, let's just watch a bit of this lefty stuff. Yeah, the classic left. I presume these are childless corporate executives or something. No, I'm being mean, of course, but that's a bit mean to say. I know some
Trump has only been in office
40-year-old women with no kids who are wonderful people. So I apologize, particularly as you're all in intel and probably keeping my bank accounts alive. So I apologize again. After all, these things are handled quietly.
4 to 5 months, and he's already sidelining his head of DNI and the Secretary of Defense, sidelining them. And this just shows you that this is a man that doesn't have strategy, that acts on complete, total, and utter impulse. Seth, play this clip.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
Okay, this is staggering. And
not really staggering. Let's talk about it, shall we? Just let me make sure I'm on the right thing. I am indeed. There we are. All right. This is a setup. Trump is not in on it. They're setting up and getting ready to get rid of him. I'm practicing my Moon Pluto conjunction in the 8th house in Virgo, sextiling Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, the Sun, and Mercury in the 10th house of career in Scorpio. Okay. They're going to do a John Hinckley versus Ronald Reagan close-up assassination attempt. I think he's going to get shot and he's going to recover and he will retire a little hero and they'll thank him for his service. I'm putting myself out there on this. It's a bit silly, but I'm just going to throw it out there. If it doesn't happen, of course, I was just mucking around. But if it does happen, I'm a fucking genius and you should send me more money. You know how it works. What's that they say? What did Kennedy say? Victory has many sons, but defeat is an orphan. But thumbs up. They won't rid of him. I think there's a lot of people just tired of him, tired of dealing with him. He's a great actor for this role, which is to be a wrecking ball. That was what he was recruited for originally by Kissinger, to wreck things. And he's definitely unstabilized and done that. I am slightly, and I said slightly optimistic. You understand, I'm not optimistic for a beautiful world in the next 2 years. I'm optimistic if the pressure continues and these things are handled quietly and who dares wins, we'll find in the next 20 years a whole new system, a new world order based on the power of the United States as a unipolar power, where all the means of transaction, production, national security will be contained within the borders of the United States. The Israeli state will be turned into a secular state and a vassal state of the United States. This is about controlling the data, and you cannot understand anything until you understand this is all about setting up for AI. China is no threat. Russia is no threat. They're all in the bag. They're working for US intel now, all of them. They're just keeping them there as boogeymen, so the US taxpayers will continue to justify the money flooding into giant in-QTEL private corporatized hands. However, I wouldn't call it entirely private corporatized. Let's just have it in the right hands. I'm looking forward to Jewish power's complete dismantling, and Americans and us and no one can keep whining about the Jews. Now, all the WASPs and Catholics and Anglo-Saxon Protestants and all the rest can all sit there with a few Jews, of course, because let's face it, they are very good at doing things with all that maths and science and background. We will see no more blame on the Jews bullshit now. Now it's just, power's there, America, what are you going to do with it? You've got the beautiful Constitution and the Bill of Rights. That's the only thing that grants you any of this from God. I know many of you are going, who cares? Shut up. We had America. Then you better fuck off, go somewhere else, because you're not going to hear anything bad from me. I believe God has absolutely ordained the United States to dominate this planet and usher in the new age. I've come to free the slaves. I truly believe that. I'm not here to love America because you roll your R's or Charlie Pride music or John Denver or my love of country and Western. It's not that. It's about your Constitution and Bill of Rights. If you will not support it, then we seek another, or we await Dajjal, Antichrist, Armageddon, whatever. So I'm just saying, I'm cheerleading. If the United States does not survive and dominate the planet, then their beautiful little European-based old families of Europe, Hoofjuden, will bring in their, slowly but surely, will bring in their culling project. It's not going to be demons. It's going to be done very nicely, very politely. They'll have all their actors ready. They must be destroyed. The US should invade Canada, Western Canada, and push the libtard, pedophile, tranny, effing pieces of garbage over to the east, where they can all learn to speak French. France is going to have to get a slap in the mouth, and I'm not talking about the French people. I'm talking about the Rothschilds. Understand, when I talk Germany and France, I mean Rothschilds. When I talk Sweden and the quiet achievers up there in Sweden, the Wallenbergs and the old royal families, that's Rothschild. Well, not quite Rothschild, but in the bag, all working together. Not the people. The people must be freed. Come to free the slaves. They want to fight back, and I'll tell you, their view is, look, we are not, by the way, if you want all my analysis, it's on my Patreon. I try to upload as least as possible to YouTube. This will go on YouTube. But a lot of these people truly believe that there needs to be a top-down system, kings, queens, elites, and we clean their toilets while they run around educating themselves and doing wonderful stuff. However, with the way things are going, we don't need them anymore. They have to part, take them, strip them of their assets at best, if not kill them. Yes, kill them. If not that, I want them urinating and defecating on themselves in the absolute shitty fear which they have inflicted on the planet, particularly the last 100+ years of a couple 100 million dead people. I want them shitting their fucking pants, in fact, blow their brains out. If not, strip them of all their assets, leave them with $1 million, and that'll be that. And they'll be pissing their pants and grateful that we have isolated but preserved them, and they better be fucking thankful. And they can just die off and fucking rot in hell. How about that? Maybe that's the quickest way to get it done. You've got to free Europe. You can't stop at Canada. You can't stop at Mexico. Who's under the influence of the Europeans. That's why they're all learning French here and loving Europe and hating America. That's the plan. As I said, Mexico, to the Mexicans I tried to talk to, its Council on Foreign Relations, Trilateral Commission, Rockefellers, Carnegie, Atlantic Council, these are all European-based. Now you hate America. They were controlling America. It's going to change, but it's going to take a little bit of time. Hopefully we don't need an invasion of Canada. We don't need an invasion of Mexico. What we really need is an invasion of Europe. The enemy is Europe, particularly the Germans and the French. The French elites, Rothschild, City of London. That is the enemy. They've got to be stripped of their assets. All the billions and trillions they've got tied up, all those zeros and ones. They'll pay off the national debt. We can equalize with a snap of the fingers and reset the entire economic system. We can still have cash, but also a central bank digital currency is vital. I want it in the hands of the government, the people, with cash, because you can never not have a blackout. You can never not lose power. It only works in very small systems, highly controlled environments. So you still have cash. I think you've mistaken when I said I love the central bank digital currency. You thought I meant a cashless society. No. I want it exactly as we have it now, with cash and the end of credit cards and all the rest, and it'll just be central bank digital currency in the hands of the people. Where, like, when my credit cards don't work, my debit cards, I've got nothing I can do. I can't do a effing thing. Best I can do is cancel them and try again. See, you bet I love a central bank digital currency where, as a citizen, I can call and say, what's going on? And I don't have to hire a lawyer to subpoena a bank. Can you hire a lawyer to subpoena a bank? No, you can't. So, with all this in mind, let's quickly go to Michael Wolff with that lady, the English stern Margaret Thatcher impersonator, talking about Bannon and Tucker, who are bestie friends, how much they despise Trump. And he actually says that Tucker might be president. I'm having bets on Tulsi Gabbard. Let's have a look at this. Okay, let's go over to here. And talk about Tulsi Gabbard first.
Overconfidence is extraordinary in the underestimating of certainly Middle East adversaries. So this also sounds familiar. We have a head of intelligence in Tulsi Gabbard who said one moment that there was no evidence that Iran was actually capable of creating nuclear bombs. And then Trump, having come out and contradicted her, she then backpedaled and said it was possible they would have the ability in a few months.
Yeah, she's toast. So the head that will roll here is hers.
Tulsi Gabbard's head will roll, you think?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Go on.
No, I mean that's what everybody inside the White House is clucking over her. I mean, she's the one. If there is MAGA blame to go around, it's going to fall on her. There's a lot of now.
Michael Wolff knows shit sometimes. Look, I've read his stuff. Keep in touch with him. Watch what he does, because he spoke to Winston. Remember my friend Winston? Jolly good telly here, remember? There's a conspiracy theory about Qatar. But I watch everything Michael Wolff does, because he does have an inside run into the Trump White House. Bannon talked to him. Bannon went after Kushner and with Vicky Ward via Michael Wolff, and Vicky Ward went after Kushner. So I'm all for it. And of course he despises Trump. Totally get why. But MAGA is not happy with Trump. This is where Michael Wolff needs to get a clue. MAGA's not happy with Trump. MAGA's pissed with Trump. So, I'm not sure where he gets that from. Maybe I've misunderstood. But Tulsi Gabbard is clearly an intelligence asset. No one could be that stupid. So she's just, what you need to do, you need to maintain contacts with your network, with your assets. And so that's why they run backwards and forwards to Syria. They need to keep an eye on what's going on, what's Putin up to. They go back, pat Putin on the head and give him his new instructions. He's to attack Germany and France, so on and so forth. These are the games. These are the Kissingerist geopolitical cold-hearted games. Okay. So, watch Tulsi Gabbard. There's no way. Now, Michael Wolff's going to say that Tucker Carlson has hopes for the presidency. Yeah, right. And Ted Cruz too, I presume. Marco Rubio's got 10 times more chance of being president. I presume J.D. Vance will be president sometime this year. Peter Thiel, I don't care about. I couldn't care less about Peter Thiel. He's nothing but an In-Q-Tel frontman with his own little fetishes. That's why he got the job. It's not because he's a genius. He's a barely capable administrator like an Elon Musk, and they just work for the appropriate intelligence services. So who cares about Palintir? And I actually agree with Alex Jones, funnily enough. Palintir is nothing. See, that's the dangle. What you do is you dangle something, okay? There's the dangle. Oh, Palintir, Peter Thiel, Palintir. And Whitney's going, yeah, with James Cole. Yeah, Palintir, isn't it terrible? But let's talk about Unilady 200 and Telpiot program, the complete domination of every single piece of critical infrastructure in the US, including oil and gas pipeline switches, all Israeli, industrial controller chip, the FAA. Maybe they were getting rid of all the radar control systems, getting rid of all the Israeli stuff, we hope. So when I say everything, I mean everything. That's why it's a dangle. It's a distraction. Peter Thiel, Palintir, the big one. That's the little dangle. And they go, look over here, look over here. Don't look over here, though. Don't talk about what Mary Silver talks about in the front of 300 Republicans. See the dangle? See the bullshit? So anyway, Tucker's got about as much chance of being president as my foreskin. And, which has more chance, I'll show you. Bannon, no, he's not made. He's smart. He's a smart operator, but he's not. He's Machiavelli. He's the advisor. He's the thug that walks behind the scenes cracking skulls. He's Machiavelli, the prince. He's not made to be a president. You then have the only other one I could possibly think of, really. I mean, Vance is a Nancy boy. I just can't stand the side. I mean, he's articulate. He's a Ramaswamy. He's very articulate. Yeah, I've done all his public speaking. I'll tolerate him. You've got to understand, I'll tolerate it within just till we get something stabilized. So the real revolution can take place. Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah, well, I could feel it in my bones. So she's been groomed now as the honest one. She's been groomed now as the realist. She's been groomed. She's probably been groomed for some time. And she loves it. She's such a careerist, such an absolute crass, pathetic opportunist. She's such a psychopath. She is one of the biggest psychopaths I've ever seen, Tulsi Gabbard. She is an utter psychopath. She will say and do anything to push her career. Her and her little Kiwi friend, Maori friend from New Zealand, a literal communist, involved in all those little Indian sects. All very interesting. All very interesting. But let's keep a close eye and see what happens in the long run. Let's now find Mike Wolff talking about Bannon and Tucker Carlson. Okay, here we go. Here we go for a giggle. Are you ready for this?
So, who would lead the MAGA anti-war faction here?
I mean, Tucker for president.
Tucker Carlson for president.
I mean, I think, I've always thought that he's interested. I know, I've spoken to him about this, that this is, that he has certainly never said no to this. And, we'll see. I mean, Tucker has Tucker, both Tucker and Steve Bannon detest Donald Trump. Detest. And I have sat with both of them for hours on end, listening to their contempt for this man. They have put up with him because he's led this movement which feeds them too. I'm not sure anyone else could lead this movement. But will they swallow this fundamental aspect of what they believe in, of what they have spoken about, of what they have, I think that to some degree dedicated themselves to. This is the thing that means something. Nothing else means anything. This means something.
So this could be a genuine catalyst for a split in the Republican Party?
It could be.
I mean, we know Marjorie Taylor Greene is against it too. Who are the other prominent Republicans that you think might be fired up by this? And of course, your point that you have consistently made is that everybody hates Donald Trump. So there's a sense in which people are waiting for a crack, which they can begin to lean into and stop being afraid of him, and he becomes afraid of them. So who are the other people that are possible Republicans to split from him?
Well, I think the Republican leadership is solidly or quite solidly old-fashioned, an old-fashioned neocon bunch, and Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon have not only waged a campaign against war, but they've waged a campaign against the traditional Republican leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Okie dokie. In the City of London too. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. All right, ladies and gents. A bit more analysis. There is no war in Iran. It's a bombing campaign. There is no invasion of Iran. Watching this stereo has been driving me insane. I just been, oh, for God's sake. No one's going up against the IRGC. And if they fight, they'd roll over you. They're fearless. They have no problem dying. There's scary. And not even US technology and urban counterinsurgency or insurgency will stop that. So that's never happening. Iran is helpless. I don't suppose you noticed that Iran is completely helpless. They have no air force. They have no, their radar systems are completely down. Their anti-aircraft systems are completely gone. And everyone's going, oh my God, it'll be an invasion. There's not going to be an invasion. This is going to sit there like they did on Iraq and just tank plink. The campaign's been hugely successful. It's been wonderful. Iran's not going to do a fucking thing. Just as when Colin Powell, part of WikiLeaks, some of his emails leaked, and he was talking back in 2010 was it? 2008, 2009, when he said Ahmadinejad, Mahmoud, the good doctor, Ahmadinejad, thank God he's alive. When Jalil told me, I thought, oh no, please, not him. They told me Colin Powell talking about the nuclear thing, like he's just saying it's a load of crap. No one's taking it seriously, the nuke threat. He said, Ahmadinejad and the boys know what we'll do to them. And he wrote that when he spoke to Ahmadinejad said, look, what do you think we're going to do if we get a bomb? Polish it? We're going to polish them. What are we going to do? We know what you're going to do to us. That's what I mean. Ahmadinejad's a true Scorpio freaking realist. Gen X, baby. Gen X. The finest of all. He knows. He knows he's going to get chip blown out. He's a realist. He's a perfect person to lead the Iranians into the arms of the United States, and it can still remain a reasonable conservative meaning, 2 + 2 = 4. No, I'm not sure if I'm a man and a woman stuff, which of course is the plan, to make people terrified of the United States with this garbage, so they can reinstigate that more conservative system back in place by saying there's the alternative blue-haired ladies who are actually men with beards. So you've got to always channel people back into the system you want by scaring them instead of having a more, just a normal Reagan-type Democrat, old Union, just normal, can we have a reasonable standard of living, common sense arguments? You just radicalize everyone, polarize everyone, and make it into a laughingstock. And that's exactly what has been done. So we can't have conversations. We can't get onto the right subjects. It's just ridiculous blue-haired tranny are going to take over the world garbage, and here we are. So there is no war in Iran. It's tank plinking. No one can touch the United States. No one's going to die in Iran. It's just a joke, the whole freaking thing. I want ideally to have the entire Islamic terror network gone. I prefer it was done a bit more civilly. And then there's no need for all the Patriot Act, is there? I want the Patriot Act kept in place a little while because there's a lot of people to round up. But this time, the right people. Okay, so I say Mary Silver for president, and how about that? Congresswoman Mary Silver taking her dictation lessons and moving forward in the Republican Party. I think that would be a wonderful idea, because sometimes I guess these things are handled quietly. And above all, who dares wins. We'll talk again soon. F. Scott Fitzgerald, quote, "The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. One should, for example, be able to see that things are hopeless and yet be determined to make them otherwise. This philosophy fitted on to my early adult life when I saw the improbable, the implausible, often the impossible, come true."
What is our common bond truly? Freedom. Freedom. Without freedom, you can't be a Christian no matter what denomination you belong to. You can't be a Buddhist. You can't own a donut shop. You can't drive from here to Oregon. You can't be an American, because that's what it's all about, and it's the only thing that it's all about, nothing else. Nothing else. It's about freedom.